Hey guys, my name's Tomas.
And I'm Nick.
And today we're going to be talking about why it's super important to track the return on investment, whether you're doing lead generation through paid channels or organic through referrals. Because at the end of the day, real estate agents want referrals, right? That's like the number one type of lead that you always want to get because they have the highest close rate. But where do referrals really come from? Where do they start?
You have to start somewhere. I mean, somebody's not just going to know you instinctively. They're not going to just know you off the top of their head until they get to know you through things they may see or hear. I mean, our agent, my wife and I, probably 12 years ago, I saw her face on a bench advertisement in a little neighborhood here in Cincinnati. And then a few years later, I heard her name again from a friend who she sold the home to. And now I am on her email list, et cetera, and I'm a client, but we tell other people about her. But the point being is, I didn't know who she was, and the person who referred us didn't know who she was initially. They heard about it
exactly. So that tells me that she had to do some lead generation from the get-go to get the person who referred you as their client to begin with, right? So referrals really kind of start somewhere. They start with lead generation, whether that's through Facebook ads nowadays, Google AdWords, Instagram. So that's where we want to really take this conversation is why is lead generation important to the foundation of your business, and why you need to track all the money that you're going to be spending to get your business off the ground or to make your business grow, right?
Yeah, because there's a million things you could be doing. Every day you get bombarded with new different tactics to use. So just test things, track them out, see what works, see what's driving new business, new referrals, new leads, and double down on those channels and those tactics.
Yeah, and then we want to really shine the light on some of the trendy words that you're probably hearing about, whether that's CPC, CPL, what's CPA, what does that actually mean, right? And like what's actually relevant for you, a business owner or a team leader who's trying to get more leads for your for the agents that you're working with, right? So we're gonna shine the light on that, what's relevant, what's not relevant, the things that are kind of like the shiny new tool that you probably shouldn't be exploring yet. And then we're also gonna launch into like how you can actually leverage dotloop to track the ROI on your business.
And if you're thinking, this is just stuff I don't need to think about. I mean, I'm a realtor, I'm an agent. It's exactly why you need to think about it.
Exactly.
A lot of people today that thought, I don't need to worry about these tactics and technologies or whatever, lead generation. 5 years ago, across Fortune 500 companies, they're probably pretty ticked off and then start thinking about it a bit earlier. So it's important to think about these things.
Yeah, and the other thing is like, we've always heard that real estate it's an industry that's based on relationships, and that we completely agree. Like even our business, even though we're in the tech world, it's based on relationships. We're building relationships. All that we're doing with technology is enhancing those relationships to serve people in a better way, more efficient way. So this isn't going to replace the relationship that you're having with your clients, that one-on-one. It's more around bringing awareness to your business and enhancing those touches that you're gonna be doing with new businesses and existing ones.
Fish where the fish are.
Exactly.
You need to know where the fish are so you can fish there. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark.
And the biggest thing is like this is evolving so quickly, just from where we started a year ago to where we are now in terms of like the new programs that we've launched. They've evolved completely. Like we wouldn't even recognize the beta 1. So this is really going to just kind of get you in the mindset of constantly learning and evolving whatever tactics that are working for you. So let's move on to lead sources. So what kind of lead sources do we actually have? We have Facebook, Instagram, which are kind of like one and the same in reality.
Zillow.
We got Zillow if you're spending money there as well. Events, if you're hosting events or going to events, that's another lead source. Referrals are a lead source. And I think what we're really gonna try to figure out is how much money are you actually getting back from each one of these sources, right? So the whole goal of this exercise is for you to, at the end of the day, for you to be able to say, hey, I'm spending $300 a month on Facebook ads and Instagram, and I'm getting back 500. Awesome. Then you're getting a positive return on investment on Facebook. And if you're saying you're spending $500 on Google Ads, but you're only getting $300 back, then hey, maybe you could reallocate this additional $200 to Facebook and double down on it, or maybe figure out how you can optimize your Google Ads locally, right?
And you're geeking out on this stuff.
I know. This is the stuff that I'm
learning
like.
too. I mean, it makes me think of like basically what I'm hearing you say is you need to figure out where to focus your efforts to get the best return on investment.
Yep.
I'm going to keep bringing up the home buying process for myself and my wife, but when we sold our home late last year, our agent had us stage the house. She brought in a stager, and they focused on specific rooms. It's a lot of the same thing. It's like that saved us from focusing on the little room down in the partition that nobody sees, nobody cares about. But if we put the effort into painting the walls in the main living room, sprucing up the kitchen, doing these little things, and those are the sources for people walking through the house. Yep. That's the area where we're gonna get the best ROI.
Exactly.
It's a lot like that online, right?
Exactly. So you want to focus on the areas that are really like hitting your bottom line, right? The other thing that I think it's important to call out, it's something that we've learned in all these years of running paid advertisement, which is the value of brand marketing. You as a business owner, you own your own brand, right? So sometimes you may be running ads that may not have a positive ROI, but guess what? There is a chance that somebody saw your ad a month ago, but now they're actually being more serious about buying a house, and they recall your ad. So instead of clicking on your ad because they may not see it when the time is right, they search you on Google, hit your website, and then convert through your website, right? So how do you actually draw, it's hard to put that, a monetary value on that lead, because to you it's gonna look like it came from your website, but in reality, the buying process started in Facebook. So it's almost impossible to draw that direct line, but it is important and it's relevant to your brand to run paid advertisements sometimes, because you don't know when it's you're gonna be exposing the right people at the right time versus somebody who's just entering the market and looking to buy a home maybe 2-3 months down the line. You want to start putting that seed in their head that you're gonna be the right person to work with, or your business if you're running a team or if you're running a brokerage, right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's you want to be top of mind, tip of tongue. I heard that somewhere. So even if it's you have your face on a park bench, which seems old school, or a billboard, or a radio ad, or a TV commercial, the more you do that, you may be kind of I can't track it back to a direct lead, but the more you hit the people in your target audience with those impressions, top of mind.
Yeah, and something that we did is we kind of split it into two. We have a lead generation type of ads that we normally run, and then we have the brand marketing ads that we're running, right? So the lead generation ones are meant to have a positive ROI, where the brand marketing, we know we might not see that huge return on investment, but we do see a direct impact on other channels like organic traffic on your website, direct traffic on your website. So it does have a very certain value. So if you have the means to run that type of advertisement, by all means. But that's really up to you, and that's really down to your business.
We don't expect you to do everything we're saying.
Exactly.
We're just trying to get it all out there. You pick and choose. We encourage you to start trying some of these things, whether it's you or somebody on your team.
And start thinking differently. There's always a reason why something may be working or maybe not be working. It's just trying to get a little bit more analytical, but at the same time, just start shifting the way you act as a business owner, and how you it's not just I spend this amount of money and I'm getting this amount of money back. Try to get a little bit deeper into why that's happening. Obviously, seeing a positive return on investment that's what we all aim for, right?
Right. Now we're going to talk terminology. There are a ton of acronyms floating around. They make my head spin sometimes. Yep. I know that would make your head spin. We're not going to dizzy you down with all these acronyms. We're going to focus on 4, and then we're going to emphasize 2 of them. And Tomas is going to geek out on this. It's my favorite thing to say, is geek out.
So I'm going to try to not get into the weeds of things, but it's kind of hard just because I love this area. But yeah, like Nick said, there's a lot of terminology, so we want to kind of like get focused on the ones that are going to be most relevant for you, and they're probably the ones that you hear about the most. So CPC, that's cost per click. So how much does it actually cost for anybody to click on one of your ads, or whether that's Facebook, Instagram, or Google, right? So that's CPC at its core. The other one is CPL, cost per lead. So how much does it actually cost you? How much are you paying to get a lead? So let's take it a little bit farther. So Nick clicks on my Facebook ad, so that's the CPC. So that's how much is that costing me? And then if he converts on that ad, then that'll be my CPL, right? So how much did it cost? So there's gonna be two layers there. How much did it cost me for him to click on my ad, and then how much did it cost me to get him as a lead? So those are the two things. And I think those are really great metrics to give you a sense of how your ads are performing, but at the same time, they're not the ones that you should focus on the most. In our opinion, there's the two that you should focus on the most are CPA and then conversion rate. So CPA is cost per acquisition. So that let's say that Nick clicks on my ad, converts on my ad, and he's looking for a house, so he's a buyer. So in this case, I'm getting a buyer lead, right? We search for a home, he loves a home, and he buys a home. So let's say that I get $3,000 in commission from working with Nick. So then at that point, I can go back, see how much I actually spent on that ad, and then figure out what my ROI was, what in terms of like my commission versus how much I spent on the ad, right? So that's your cost per acquisition. And then conversion rate. So conversion rate is probably the best metric to use whenever you want to gauge the performance of your ads. CPC and CPL are great indicators once you want to get a little bit more granular into the performance, but conversion rate is kind of like that OVO for gauging the performance of any ad that you're running, or paid channel for that matter. But yeah, does that make sense, Nick?
Yeah, it's your batting average conversion rate, right?
Exactly.
So there could be 20, use me as an example, there could have been 20 of us that clicked through the ad, and you talked to all of us, you showed us the house, and only one converted. So that's 1 out of 20. That's a lot.
Exactly.
Maybe you don't want to use that ad. Maybe that's not the right channel for you.
Exactly.
So that mindset, you have to constantly have that mindset. What's working, what's not. I mean, you do it day to day as an agent. When you talk to people and you're interacting, you're taking them through houses.
Yep.
At the end of the day, you probably go back and think, what could I have done differently? What could I change? What worked? What didn't work? It's the same mindset, maybe in a little bit different realm than you're used to online, but that's the way things are moving nowadays. You need to know where the people you're trying to attract are before you can even get them in the door to do what you do best, build that relationship.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, you're gonna have ads that are gonna be converting, that are gonna have a high conversion rate for like cost per lead, but that's whenever you have to look at the overall life cycle of your clients, of your customers. Whether if you're gonna have a high conversion rate for the ad, but those leads are not quality leads, then maybe either figure out like whether that type of ad is just generating like very top of the funnel, so people who might be exploring whether it's time for them to buy a house or not, or versus somebody who's literally ready to pull the trigger tomorrow. So those are things to consider, but at a more core level, those are the 4 main metrics to focus on whenever you're spending money on any type of channel.
So we talked about a lot of ideas and kind of high level topics, and before we bring it home and talk about practical application, I encourage you to leave a comment. Let us know if you want more videos like this. It's obvious that we love talking about it. We hope it resonates with you, but just let us know below in the comments. And just say, hey, I want more videos about this, or I'd like a video about XYZ, whatever topic. But yeah, so let's bring it home. And what we're going to do now is talk about practical application of some of these ideas. And we're going to do it through the lens of dotloop. That's what we know, so that's what we're going to do. And what I keep hearing from agents and admins and TCs that I talk to is about the tagging feature in dotloop. Tell us a little bit more about that, Tomas, and how that relates to what we talked about in this video.
Yeah, essentially, let's say that you get a lead from Facebook, and I keep going back to Facebook. It's just very simple, and that's something that probably we're all familiar with, right? But say that you get a lead from Facebook, it goes through your CRM, or you put it directly into dotloop once it starts the transaction. What you can do if you're currently using dotloop for Teams or dotloop Business Plus, you can add a tag to that transaction. Whether that's how you can name it whatever you want, Facebook lead. And once you go through the entire transaction process, you put in the commission, you put in the cost of the house, like you fill out all the details. Then you can go into your reporting section, either build a report, export that data out into Excel, you can put it into another system, whatever you want to do. The simplest part, I think, just putting it into Excel, right? And every month you can look at all the lead sources that you have, then look at all the transactions that you have pending and all the transactions that you closed. And then you can, and at that point you're gonna have an overall picture of where you're spending money and the sources that are giving you the most money, literally hitting your bottom line. So if you closed 10 transactions and you made $20,000 from them, but only spend $1,500 in paid advertisement, boom! Obviously, you're making money. You have a positive ROI.
Thank you, Tomas.